It's a third successive draw. At 1-1, this game would finish. We saw chances from both ends in it as well. Let's welcome in Stuart Robson to talk more about what we saw, but just a look at how the standings are. City remaining second, but now they are 5 points off Arsenal, and the Gunners have the chance to go 8 points clear if they can beat Liverpool tomorrow. It feels like a big shift in the Premier League title race, Stuart.
It certainly does, because Man City over the last 3 games haven't quite been good enough, and tonight they weren't good enough. And it allows Arsenal, if Arsenal have a little slip, it doesn't matter quite so much now. They're playing with full of confidence. I think they will beat Liverpool tomorrow, and they'll be 8 points clear. And I think they're going to win the title by quite some way in the end, because Man City at the moment, as you saw in those clips there, defensively they were all over the place for the first 20 minutes. Yes, it was a sort of a makeshift back four with several players injured, but they didn't create enough going forward. Most of the chances that they created were given to them by Brighton. You missed a couple of other ones out there where they played out from the back, Brighton, and gave Man City easy chances. So it wasn't a great performance. Rodri came on in the last 20 minutes but didn't have an influence on the game. But overall, I think it was a fair result. Brighton had some big chances, Man City had some chances, but didn't control the game. And if you don't control games when you're playing at home against the likes of Brighton, I don't think you can expect to win the Premier League at the moment.
How bad is it for the title race for Man City, Shaq?
I can give them some of their feelings. That was clearly on display against Brighton. A good footballing team in Brighton. You just feel like, especially when you draw the comparisons between Manchester City and Arsenal, who generally don't drop points, given the gap that they're on, you just wonder where City now have to be perfect from here to the end of the season, and even so, where do Arsenal drop those points? And for me, and we're in January, the January transfer window is open, you expect Pep Guardiola and Manchester City to do an awful lot of business, but there are just so many holes in this Manchester City team, particularly defensively. How do you fix that defense in one transfer window? I'm not sure. Again, and as far as attacking-wise goes, Doku on the pitch today, I find they look so much better when he's on the park, have 2 natural wingers. A lot to talk about Semenyo, whether he comes in. As it happens, he played on that left-hand side for Bournemouth today. Maybe having 2 orthodox wingers gets the best out of Erling Haaland yet again. But there's just so much for Pep Guardiola to fix in a very short space of time, and no wiggle room between now and the end of the season.
It's gone from feeling, Stuart, as though Manchester City might be putting something together, to now these 3 successive draws and it may be falling off a little bit.
Yeah, I think they've had some injuries, of course, to that back four. As I said, it was a makeshift back four, and Kuzanov was one of the centre-halves. Alain came in from Watford. He's been out on loan. He was brought back. So that was understandable that they didn't have a good understanding to start with. They tried to play a high line. Nathan Ake, who they're talking about trying to sell, was playing at left back. And Nunez was playing at right back. So it's not a particularly good back four. And Nico Gonzalez, once again, failed to really impress and dominate the game, both without the ball and with the ball. And that's why Rodri has to come back and be fully fit. He was much better when he came on against Sunderland. He didn't have the same sort of impact today. And in the front areas, Erling Haaland had his chances today, didn't take them, but he's always going to score. I wasn't Bernardo Silva playing out on the right-hand side. He can keep the ball, but there's not enough penetration from that side of the field, whereas, as Shaka just said, Doku looks to be the dangerous player at the moment. He's the one that created the penalty, or got the penalty. He actually won the ball back from a cross-field pass initially. So they've got a long way to go at the moment. Reinders didn't have one of his better games. I just feel as though they know they're not going to win the title. The crowd know they weren't going to win, or aren't going to win the title. They didn't turn up in great numbers tonight. It was a strange atmosphere at the ground.
Game winner.
Oh, what a way to bow out, Shaka, in that 3-2 against Spurs, late winner from Semenyo.
It really was, and all eyes were on him for obvious reasons on that left-hand side, just operates so well. From a Spurs perspective, I thought Thomas Frank's team played well enough. Not I can't say that they were that much worse than Bournemouth. But Semenyo, all eyes on him, and certainly delivered. Again, playing wide as that natural wide player, taking players on is always such a threat. We know about Spurs defensively. Semenyo exposed that, and then very well taken goal, knowing where the space is, finding an incredible finish.
Have you ever left a team like that, in that style, Ali?
Ali can't shoot from that far.
Yeah. Valid point, Shaq.
No need for it, though, really.
Unnecessary. Unnecessary.
I mean,
as valid as it may be.
Felt like a bit of a swipe, if I'm honest.
It seems unnecessary. You come in late, you do whatever you want, Shaq. You just take a shot at me if you will. But it's ideal if you're Semenyo. Who knows how the Bournemouth fans feel about Semenyo leaving? Of course, they're going to be disappointed that their best player is walking out the door. But when you finish your stay at a team like this and you provide the team with a win, then I think it in some ways it softens the blow, but in other ways it highlights what you're letting go and it highlights what's no longer going to be here. For him, ideal. I don't wait to give yourself a birthday present. I've done that. I scored on my birthday before.
Oh, nice.
I've done that before. But to your point, Shaq, well outside my range, that goal. And well taken. I think it's a big win for Bournemouth. And you looked at it from the perspective for Spurs. And you say, well, they play well enough. Well, apparently not. Apparently not. You look at Andoni Areola and what he has been able to do with this team, it really is impressive.
What's he going to bring Antoine Semenyo, Robbo, to Man City?
Well, as you saw, plenty of pace. He plays on that left-hand side, can come on his right foot and get shots away. I think he's an intelligent footballer as well. His movement off the ball is good. He knows how to find space. He can link up with others. I think he's the all-round wide player, particularly when he comes in field on that right foot. But at Manchester City, they have Doku, they have Savinho, they have Marmoush, who were all brought in last year to play that sort of role at some point. So he's got to be better than those three. And he probably, at the moment, is better than two of them, but maybe just on a level par with Doku. So it'd be interesting to see if he does go to Man City, where he actually fits in, or whether he can play on the other side, or whether Doku has to play on the other side. But he's certainly an outstanding player. He's been playing well for a good time now. It's not just a flash in the pan. He's an excellent player, and he'll give Man City something else to think about.
So he's definitely going, LA.
I was just going to say that's the key, what Stewie just mentioned there. Can any of these guys play on the other side? Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why nowadays some of these wing-type players, why they are so limited to where they can play. If you're a winger type, go to the right, go to the left. It shouldn't make that much of a difference. The game itself, in terms of the concept of what you bring to a team, is not all that different. But it feels like, Doku's got to be on the left, otherwise he's useless. Or Savinho's got to be on the right, otherwise he's useless. How about just showing that you can do, instead of having to cut the ball to the inside, as Doku seems to do all the time, and Savinho seems to do all the time, how about, dip on the shoulder and you go to the outside? What is wrong with that? I don't see why it's either a managerial decision or why players seem to limit themselves in terms of what they can do in wide areas. One of these guys is going to have to show that they can play on the opposite side. And if they do, then we get to what Shaka was talking about, where you have a dual threat from wide areas.
Yeah. What does his arrival do? What impact will it have on the title race, if any?
Well, on the title race, as we see it now, not much. I mean, it gives Arsenal more to think about, but I still think it'll take an almighty collapse from Arsenal for City to get themselves back in this. Now, we've seen City been not perfect, but very, very good in the second half of the season. That was City of 2 or 3 years ago. I'm still not sure that City are back there yet, given what you saw last year. But it certainly provides a different option, or it provides a greater threat. And to Ali's point, having two wingers, that doesn't have to be a natural side, especially when you have somebody like Erling Haaland in the middle. You don't have to whip a cross in for Erling Haaland to score from. You just have to stand it up. You could use your wrong foot, stand a cross up, and Erling Haaland will finish it off. So you now have this threat from both sides, regardless of what your preferred side may be. That makes City better, but again, the title race is about Arsenal right now. Not about City, not about what they're able to do in January. It only comes down to whether Arsenal can collapse between now and May.
Before we move on from talking about this game, we do need to know, Stuart Robson, if you ever had a farewell that was quite so fitting for any of your clubs.
No, absolutely not. No, I certainly didn't. I left Arsenal after being injured for 4 months and had an operation. And then when I came out of the operation, West Ham came in for me, and I was off pretty quickly. And the same happened at West Ham. I went to Coventry when I was actually injured, so I didn't have the farewell that I would have liked, I suppose.
The good thing is that he's turned the page.
Exactly.
Did you score on your birthday? That's the only thing.
Did you score on your birthday? That's a good question from Shaka. Did you score on your birthday,
Did I
Robbo?
score on my birthday? I didn't score that many, so I probably didn't score on my birthday.
All right. We'll
I'm not sure I even got a win on my birthday, but there we go.
Again, good things that he's let it go.
I know we should probably move on. And some work to do for that man up there in the stands. Chelsea losing in this game. Robbo was watching it for us. What did you take away from it, Stuart?
It was a strange game because at the start Chelsea were dominant, or quite dominant, without creating too many chances. Most of their threat came from set plays. They had about 3 corners on the trot where they hit the crossbar and sometimes straight from the corner. The goalkeeper, Bert Leno, didn't play particularly well in that early period of the game. And then, as Chelsea have done on many occasions, they went to sleep and Cucurella got sent off, after not too long, and that changed the whole game. And if Fulham had really gone for the jugular, I think they could have beaten Chelsea quite easily. But then they backed off and they allowed Chelsea to get back into the game, and Cole Palmer had more touches of the ball. Neto started to get involved more in the game. They made a change. Fernandes came off and the captain came on. James came on into midfield, and it gave them a little lift. And they got their equaliser. But from that moment on, they then went back into their shells, and Fulham started to play again. They got crosses into the box. They got more balls into the danger area. They got the ball forward quicker, and in the end, probably just about deserved their win. And Harry Wilson at the moment is a player that is on top form. Scored a very good goal. But from Chelsea's point of view, yes, they showed some fight in the second half, but they looked a bit fragmented at times. There was too much space sometimes for Harry Wilson to come short and Smith Rowe to come short. So there was a big space between the defenders and the midfield players. I think he's got a lot of work to do at the moment, Liam Rosenior.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you actually make of this Chelsea team as he finds it right now, Robbo?
One that I think is struggling to find its identity, struggling to find exactly what they're trying to do. At times they play slowly out from the back without too much penetration. Other times they try and go longer, and not always at the right time do they do either thing. There seems to be some disharmony at times. A couple of substitutions were made today, and the players argued over those substitutions. So, I think he's got a lot of work to do. And I think the players are looking at the club and thinking, are we going down the right route here? So Liam Rosenior has got to get results very, very quickly, I feel, just to get everybody on board, to get the crowd on board, to get the players on board, and maybe even to get the people who made the appointment on board as well.
Yeah, to Robbo's point, it's not going to be easy for him, is it?
No, it's not. And we've spoken about the job that Maresca did certainly in trying to get some kind of control around Chelsea's dressing room and the numbers that they have in there. I certainly have been fairly critical of some of these signings. I will say I thought Liam Delap was as good as I've seen him in the blue of Chelsea today. So at least there's that as far as a positive goes. But to Robbo's point, you dominated the game, and somehow Chelsea have this way of shooting themselves in the foot. The red card came as simply and from a Chelsea perspective, as stupidly as you can expect. And from there, you're always up against it. I will also say, I'll double down on what Robbo is saying, what a footballer Harry Wilson is. And he showed it. Okay, again, Chelsea had 10 men. Harry Wilson was allowed to boss that midfield, was running in behind, getting things short. What a player. And certainly Chelsea, or the 10 men of Chelsea, didn't have an answer for that. Fulham, and again, to Robbo's point, control the game. Harry Wilson had a goal disallowed for offside, rightly so, Raul Jimenez. And then they just then dropped off and allowed Chelsea to play, particularly early in the second half. And then Chelsea score, and again, they go to sleep again. So it's just this weird kind of dynamic about the Chelsea team. You can show yourself as being so good, but then at the same time, sit back, defend, don't look yourself, and make some really sloppy mistakes. Now, how you fix that is Liam Rosenior will have to figure out. That's a big ask in getting this team, who are as inconsistent even during the course of a 90 minutes, as you will see.
So they lack consistency and continuity.
Yeah.
You know what resolves that? Coaching change. When you don't have continuity, it's great to make changes.
If you're a player with that chaos behind you that Chelsea have had, what do you want this new manager coming in and doing, Ale?
Right. Well, I just mentioned consistency and continuity. That would be a place to start, but you don't develop that overnight. And so, if I'm a player in that locker room, and I'm a little confused as to why the guy that was here is no longer here, right? And I'm trying to figure out what my role is within this team. I think this is now, as it is the case when any new manager comes in, an opportunity for those that weren't playing to say, hey, maybe I'm the guy. I wasn't being taken into consideration. Maybe I'm the guy. For those that are playing, they have to be at their best and make an initial impression that actually is worthwhile. This is true for any manager and for any player. New manager comes in, he's evaluating. And he owes nothing to any of these players. For them, all these players, or for him, all these players have now an opportunity. Prove something. Show me something. We are in the show me stage for Chelsea players, if indeed they want to be part of what's ahead in the future of Chelsea. But we don't even know what that is. We don't know what the immediate future of Chelsea is. We don't know what the long-term future of Chelsea is. Because if Liam Rosenior comes in and says, well, I need another player here and I need another player there, and I'm not quite certain that this is the direction we want to go, or is he just a yes man? And that is the perception that we get from him coming in, is that this guy in the short period is going to be a yes man. He's going to say yes to those above him so that then he's allowed to work. But at some point, he's going to want to have his team. And none of these players are part of his team.
To that point, to Ali's theme around consistency and continuity, Liam Rosenior needs to know who his starting 11 is and stick with it. I think one of the big criticisms around...
And how do you do that in the middle of the season, Shaq?
One of the big criticisms around Maresca is you never quite knew who the midfield was going to be, and it seemed to change from game to game. You never knew who the back four was going to be. That seemed to change from game to game. You use Liam Delap in certain games and then not in others, and some you use João Pedro. Figure out who's your 11 and figure out which 11 best suits your style of football that you're going to be playing at Chelsea, and stick with it. Never mind this rotation for rotation's sake, because you might have games coming up in midweek or whatever it may be. Figure out who your starting 11 is, figure out who your preferred options off the bench are, and stick with that. Be consistent with that.
Now that we have got you, Stuart, were you surprised with how it ended with Maresca?
Well, once he criticised the board and said that he had that terrible 48 hours and said all those things, he was always going to be on his bike. But just going back to the point you were making there about consistency. Now, one of his complaints, and the reason that he didn't like the situation at Chelsea anymore, is because he was being told, so he says, or so it's being intimated, by the medical team and the sports science team, that you have to rotate the team. You have to play this player and you have to play that player. You can only play this player so long. So how do you get consistency if you're the manager? When you want to maybe say, I want to stick with the same 11, and they're in charge, because that's what they did when they took him on, apparently. They told him, we're going to be in charge of when the minutes that players play and all this sort of stuff. And it'll be the same under Liam Rosenior, because the medical side is still there. There's the same people running the club, the same people in positions that are telling the manager what to do. So it looks as though the board are going to be managing the manager rather than the other way around. So it's going to be very, very difficult for Liam Rosenior to get any sort of consistency and pick the same team week in, week out.
And there'll no doubt be more talk about this on the latest edition of the Gab and Jules podcast. That will be dropping tomorrow. Make sure to check it out wherever you do get your podcasts. So here's how things are going to go. Obviously, Manchester United are with an interim coach in Darren Fletcher at the moment, so we don't know if it is going to be immediate. It looked as though it was with Benjamin Sesko today, though, Robbo.
Well, it's good to see as well, because when he was at Leipzig, everybody was after him. Everyone was saying what a great striker he was, young, he was athletic, he made good runs, he was a decent finisher. But as Ali just said, where has that been? Because we haven't really seen it. He looks a little bit off the pace at times. He looks as though he's not particularly physically strong. But I think it comes down to confidence. And maybe those two goals will give him confidence, because there didn't look to be a lot of space to run in behind. And Ali's absolutely right. It's a brilliant run. The ball was perfect for him from Bruno Fernandes. And the second one, again, the timing of the run, the quality of the finish, just allowing it to hit the inside of his right foot. So if that gives him the confidence, then Manchester United have got a good striker on their hands. You know, when Buemo comes back and Cunha plays at his very best, they've got a decent front three. So it might just catapult them a little bit up the table.
Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is said to be the leading candidate to come in at the moment, and reports state that would be welcomed by some of the senior figures like Harry Maguire and Bruno Fernandes. Does it make sense right now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
It makes sense for Manchester United, certainly in the longer term, in that you expect Manchester United are not going to make shouldn't be making a full-time appointment right now, kind of given what's to come this summer, and there may be a whole lot of big names available at the end of the World Cup. So you want somebody just to kind of
Steady the ship?
Steady, well, just keep it going. Just keep it going in a general direction. That's what Manchester United need right now. Keep it going in a general direction.
They could have gone fourth today if things had gone their way.
And that's the thing, you know, for all our criticisms of Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, they were 1 or 2 wins from being in the top 4. And again, to your point, they win this in the top 4, and all of a sudden it looks and feels a whole lot different if you win those Champions League spots. The last time Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came and took over as interim, just went on this incredible run that prompted the ownership to give him the job full time. I kind of feel like this is going to be Ole's role for some time. Whenever a manager gets sacked and you need somebody just to come and either steady the ship or just keep it going in a general direction, he's going to come in and do that. I think he has the respect of the players. He's adored by the fans. So it ticks a lot of boxes in terms of that short-term appointment.
Ole at the wheel again.
Okay. Well, if he's just going to keep it in the general direction, I suppose if that's the standard, then yeah, sure, no problem. But to suggest that because Manchester United are a couple points away from a top 4 position, and to say that that's somehow something that they should hang their hat on, is ignoring the fact that a bunch of those teams that are in those very same positions have been very average this year. So it's not evaluating just Manchester United. You're not evaluating the guys or the teams that are around them. The truth is that Manchester United have been better than what they were last season. But the standard last season, mommy! Right? So has there been an improvement? Yeah, a marginal improvement. But there's been an improvement. Is there a better structure to this team? I guess I think you can say that as well. So again, we go back to the very analytical, scientific approach that Xhaka just took about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Just keep it going that way, that way. You know, you're gonna have a couple of setbacks, but just kind of keep it moving. To Xhaka's point, again, this is like the power rankings. This is the same reasoning that he has and the same algorithm. Just kind of moving that way in the general vicinity of some sort of progress. If that's the standard, then yeah, that's your guy.
What do you think, Brabo?
Well, I mean, I suppose it's a good part-time appointment, but it was only 3 or 4 years ago when we were saying that the team were directionless under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They didn't have any sort of tactical understanding. They couldn't get the ball into the front areas with any quality. What were they actually trying to do? Were they good defensively? We said all those things when he was the manager before. We'll probably be saying all those things again from now to the end of the season.
But if we to Stewie's points, we know what this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thing looks like. And to Stewie's point again, there was, even though Xhaka just wants general direction, we were directionless. So I don't understand, why don't you just stick with Darren Fletcher and see what you got in this guy? What's there to lose? I don't, is the difference between Solskjaer and Fletcher so significant? I don't know. Suppose Xhaka can tell me that.
Yeah. I can't tell you.
All right, thank you, Shaq. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that's how things are looking with Manchester United at the moment. Tomorrow is Arsenal against Liverpool. Arsenal looking to take the Premier League crown off Liverpool. Just a look when it comes to recent meetings. It's been quite close between the two sides. So let's get word from both the managers, Arteta and Slot, ahead of it.
We are top of the table. We play at home against a really, really good opponent, and we want to maintain our position. And in order to do that, we're gonna have to be excellent throughout the game to deserve to win the game. And that's the point we have to prove. Now we can go again and again. I mean, every week we have a point to prove.
Well, I think we've shown already that we can do this because we've beaten, for example, Arsenal at home. And I can come up with many other games that we've won against very strong teams. But we also know that it's going to be a special game for them as well. So we have to be completely ready because they are as well. They are in a very positive vibe at the moment, and it's obvious that we aren't, especially because we've conceded again a late goal. But I think everyone. Me for sure is looking forward to this game because it's always nice to be part of a Liverpool game, but especially if you face the Real Madrids or Arsenals or City or these kind of games. So we're definitely looking forward to going there tomorrow.
Yes, and all of our panel have gone for 2-0, so you probably shouldn't. You should go for a Liverpool win.
Yeah.
Xhaka, Ale and Stuart all saying Arsenal are going to win this one 2-0.
Oh, boy, that's not a good sign for
Never a
for
good
Arsenal.
sign.
What do you think?
I don't give predictions anymore. It's my
boy,
New Year's
what a-
resolution.
Leandro Trossard proved to be the perfect antidote to Arsenal's attacking frustrations, following Mikel Arteta's candid remarks about Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres may have struggled to truly impress since his summer arrival at Arsenal, but over the weekend, there was finally a glimpse of what he is capable of. More importantly, Trossard showed exactly why he could be the key to unlocking the Swedish striker's full potential during Arsenal's hard-fought 2-1 victory over Wolves at the Emirates Stadium. The 31-year-old winger injected fresh energy into Mikel Arteta's side on Saturday night and helped breathe new life into the Gunners' attack. Shortly after replacing Gabriel Martinelli in the second half, Arsenal found the breakthrough. While Trossard did not directly contribute to either the opening goal or the dramatic stoppage time winner, his influence on the game was undeniable. Trossard took control of proceedings, dictating the tempo and pulling the strings down the left flank. Time and again, he dismantled Wolves' compact defensive setup, releasing Miles Lewis-Skelly into space, picking out Declan Rice on the edge of the box, and crucially, feeding Gyökeres with intelligent, well-timed passes. Operating as a creative hub, the Belgian showcased his playmaking qualities, delivering sharp, purposeful distribution. His introduction completely shifted the momentum of the match, and for the first time in weeks, Arsenal's $64 million striker briefly looked like a genuine threat. Before Trossard's arrival, Gyökeres endured a frustrating and ineffective outing in attack. In fact, the Belgian was the only player to carve out a clear-cut opportunity for the 27-year-old forward, slipping a simple yet incisive ball in behind the Wolves' backline. Gyökeres controlled the pass, beat his defender, and aimed for the far post. Wolves goalkeeper Sam Johnstone was beaten, but the Swedish striker saw his effort agonizingly drift just wide. If Arteta truly wants to get the best out of Gyökeres, then granting Trossard a more prominent role in the starting 11 could be the solution. Speaking to TNT Sports after the win, the Arsenal manager openly addressed the challenges facing his marquee signing. It's a collaboration between the two, Arteta explained. He was in some really good positions, but the ball didn't arrive quickly enough, accurately enough, or with the precision a number 9 needs to score. But his commitment and intention were there, and we have to keep pushing. Arteta was equally vocal in defending Gyökeres prior to the match, urging patience with the striker's adaptation to English football. There was huge expectation because we were signing a proven goal scorer, probably with the best statistics in Europe, Arteta said. But he's coming into a different league, the most demanding league in the world. What happens if he doesn't score in 5 or 6 games? That was the only question I asked him. How are you going to react if you don't score in 5 or 6 matches? Can you handle that? And what about the next 100 games? That's what people need to see. The sample size is still very small, so leave him alone. Let him do what he does best. Support him, and I'm convinced things will come good. That message from Arteta resonated beyond the Emirates. In the days following the Wolves' victory, the debate around Gyökeres intensified among pundits, supporters, and former players. While some questioned whether Arsenal's record signing is truly suited to the Premier League's pace and physicality, others pointed to the structural issues around him rather than the striker himself. Much of the post-match analysis focused on Arsenal's chance creation and balance in the final third. The Wolves game highlighted a recurring theme this season. Gyökeres often makes the right movements, but the service into dangerous areas has been inconsistent. When Trossard entered the match, that problem briefly disappeared. Arsenal suddenly looked more fluid, more unpredictable, and far better equipped to supply a traditional number 9. Former players speaking on television and radio were quick to note the contrast. With Trossard drifting inside and linking play, Arsenal's attacking shape became more compact, allowing Gyökeres to stay higher up the pitch and occupy central defenders. That, in turn, created space for midfield runners like Rice and Odegaard to arrive late in the box. It was a glimpse of an attacking formula that Arsenal have rarely sustained this season. The reaction from supporters has been equally divided. While frustration with Gyökeres' goal return remains, there is growing appreciation for his work rate, physical presence, and willingness to press from the front. Many fans now see Trossard as the missing connector, the player who can translate Gyökeres' movement into genuine scoring opportunities. Internally, Arteta faces an important decision. Persisting with a front line that isolates Gyökeres risks damaging the striker's confidence, especially with tougher fixtures on the horizon. At the same time, promoting Trossard to a regular starting role could mean reshuffling wide positions and reducing Martinelli's minutes, a bold call that would not come without consequences. Yet football at the highest level often comes down to chemistry rather than reputation. The Wolves match suggested that Arsenal's most expensive signing may not need drastic changes to his own game, but rather the right supporting cast around him. If Arteta embraces that idea, Gyökeres' slow start could soon be remembered as nothing more than a difficult adjustment period. For now, the pressure remains. Goals will ultimately define Gyökeres' Arsenal career, and patience in North London is never unlimited. But with Trossard offering clarity, creativity, and calm in possession, Arsenal may finally have found the key to unlocking their striker and turning promise into consistent production.